All right, let's jump right into season 5 of Cobra Kai. Mild spoilers here. You'll probably be fine if you haven't seen it all, but then again, maybe you want to check out the whole season before you look at this video. So the show is absolutely fantastic, and season 5 is probably my favorite season so far. But listen, I remember when the show first came out, and I do remember when Cool Guy James or Jin Han was asking me, are you going to check out Cobra Kai? And at this point, it was on YouTube, and he was like, it's pretty good. And I'm like, dude, how good could it be? I'm not watching a spin-off show from a 1980s martial arts movie. I'm not doing that. But I checked it out anyway, and man, it's crazy good. And season 5 does not disappoint. But here's the thing. It's the same show. We've been watching the same show structurally for 5 seasons. There's really not much that's different when it comes to the structure of the show. You have 2 different schools of karate or martial arts with opposing philosophies basically going against each other. That's what we've been watching for the last 5 seasons. And I asked myself, how is this show so good? Why is the show so good? And it's the characters, man. It's the characters that drive the show, because the structure of the story is the same. But they've done such a good job with the characters. They've done such a good job with the nostalgia of the original, blending that with what we have currently today. It's such a successful dramedy is really what I would consider it to be. And that's how this show has survived so well. Now, let's get into the characters of season 5, and we gotta start with Silva. And listen, shout out to Cody Leach if you see this video, because I completely agree with your assessment of Silva. Silva is such a good villain, one of the best villains that we've seen in a long time for shows like this on Netflix. Not because his hands are so good, and he's a beast, he can fight, and from what I understand, he is a real martial artist, so that helps, but it's how calculating that dude is. That dude is so cerebral, always assessing situations, always looking at what's in front of him, always figuring out 3 to 4 or 5 moves ahead. He's such a cerebral villain, and that makes him so engrossing in this show. It's interesting, right? If you do martial arts out here, one of the reasons that I do enjoy martial arts shows and movies, I'm a martial artist myself, and it makes me think of jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu. If you've ever taken Brazilian jiu-jitsu, that martial arts is a chess match. It is the chess match on the ground. You can feel when a person is trying to set you up for an armbar, set you up for a choke, or trying to bait you to go for this choke, or trying to bait you to go for that choke, but all the while he's setting you up to put you in another position to defeat you. And that's what it's like when you're dealing with Silva. He's so calculated, and that's what makes his character so good. I loved how they paired him and Chosen against each other. And when Chosen is even having that conversation with Daniel, like, well, listen, we're going to go at him on his own turf. If he's cerebral, if he's calculating, then we will be even more so. So Chosen goes in and tries to play this mental kind of chess match with him. But Silva sees everything. Silva notices the little nuances of the folks that are in front of him, and he's shifting you through this filter to see how he might expose you, how he might manipulate you. And even Chosen gets caught in that trap, and he's not able to get past Silva's mental game, and that just made for such an interesting interchange between the two of them. He's such a dynamic villain. I also got to talk about Kreese, and they do something in this show that's really good here, which is they take the characters in what you think might be a direction in terms of a character arc, but they don't push them over the arc. Because I don't know about you, but I thought that definitely Kreese was maybe changing, and they keep pushing him to this edge, right, where we're thinking, okay, you know what, maybe the dude might shift, right? Maybe his arc might be here, and he might change from where we saw him in the beginning, but then they pull back. And he doesn't. And we see that in this season as well. It looks like he might be changing. It looks like he might be moving forward for the better. But no, he's the same Kreese. And we know all about how he gets out of jail. That was a little bit lame with how he got out of jail. The fake stabbing, and then they find out it's jelly. Like, really, nobody knew the difference. And then, of course, he beats the folks up and he gets out. But what they do with the characters here is nice, because in some cases where you think characters are going to shift and change, they don't. And they do a really good job of kind of riding that line to keep us in suspense with a lot of the characters here. Now, we can't say the same so much for the kids in the show. those kids have had pretty decent character arcs. They really have changed significantly as the show has gone on. But some of the adult characters in the show, some of the characters we know from the original Karate Kid, they keep a lot of their nuances from what we remember from the original, and that's really good too, because they continue to tie in the nostalgia from what we remember from Karate Kid in the 80s and bringing it to the present. So all of these guys are still kind of dealing with all of the baggage and the things that they've experienced from when they were younger in the 80s, and they haven't quite shifted as much with some of the things that they're dealing with. And the show does a really good job of kind of keeping you on edge with some of the key adult players in the show. The show is absolutely fantastic. Now, I have to say my favorite character in the show is Chosen. And the reason that I like him is because they bring him in as a legit fighter, and he really is a legit fighter, but he's also very much the comic relief in the show. It's hilarious how he always carries around a size. He's just really good in how he's portrayed as someone that is very old school in his thinking, very traditional in his ideology, but at the same time kind of grasping or trying to deal with this new world that he's been injected in. And I love to see the loyalty that he has to Daniel. Now, I hope nothing shifts with him. I hope that he doesn't have some character arc where he kind of moves to the dark side. I don't think that will happen, but I do feel like in this show, the way they write things, you never know really how the winds of change might blow. So I wouldn't be surprised if we do get some surprises in season 6. Now, one thing I do hope in season 6 is that we do get some characters that we haven't seen yet. And believe it or not, we do have quite a bit of characters from the first original Karate Kids in the 80s, the original 3, that could come in and shake things up. So there's a lot of room for things to happen in the show. But on the whole, I love Cobra Kai. It is a fantastic show. It's probably, for me, I told my wife this, probably one of the most bingeable shows since 24 on Fox. And I don't know if you remember 24 on Fox, but people were losing their jobs watching 24 on Fox. People were like sick for a week. I'm sick, I can't come in, watching 24 because they could not turn it off. And this show reminds me, it has that quality that just really keeps you engaged, and you can't wait to see the next episode. I really loved season 5 of Cobra Kai. I'm interested to know who your favorite character is in Cobra Kai so far. Drop that in the comments. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you on the next video. Love you. Peace.